The idea that there is a ruling elite who pull the hidden strings of politics, the media, and global economics, and thus control the world has long been with us. Over the millennia, the names of these groups have changed. Some morphed into groups that today we call organized religion, others disappeared, and a few linger, still said to be hiding in society's shadows. One woman says she was horrified when she got to peek behind the curtain and saw who is really controlling things. So who or what did she see? What is their plan? And where do we fit in? Let's take a look. Welcome to IF, videos on cryptozoology, ufology, and the paranormal. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a video again. Secret societies are nothing new. From the small groups that first practiced Christianity in secret thousands of years ago to the most, ironically, well-known secret group of them all, the Illuminati. People have and will continue to form groups, some of which operate in the open, others which do their business behind closed doors. Some of the more modern secret groups looking to control the world could be the Skull and Bones or the Bilderbergs, but there are also secret groups organizing the fight back, anonymous probably being the best known and most recent. Whenever you hear anyone talking about these groups, me included, you will often hear people say, follow the money. Well, that is almost down to the T what Karen Hoods, a whistleblower who believes the World Bank is controlled by another species of human, did. The story begins with the revelation that one brave whistleblower risked it all to bring the world the truth. This is where we are introduced to Karen Hoods. This woman worked as an attorney for the World Bank from 1986 to 2007. She made the claim that during this time she stumbled upon a conspiracy for the president of the Philippines to seize control of the banks in his country. This discovery cost the woman her career but gave her a new purpose. She would become a World Bank whistleblower. Karen became a regular on the TV and internet circuit. This when the banks became the target of the mainstream media after the 2008 collapse. She would spout her brand of anti-big bank rhetoric. But what evil does she say is lurking in the shadowy world of international banking? She says she was one of the first whistleblowers that told of the massive corruption which the World Bank had been keeping quiet. Just how much corruption was there? One shocking claim that she made was that the Jesuits had stolen all of the US gold reserves. She says the Black Pope now holds the gold, keeping it hidden in the secret tunnels beneath the Vatican. The Vatican must really be struggling with space, with the many recent stories of everything from human remains to Nazi gold being hidden down there. And this is where the story takes another strange twist. The former attorney claims that this Black Pope is a different species from you and I. In a podcast, Karen said the following: "There's a second species on this planet. They're not extraterrestrials. They're very much with us. They made maps in the previous ice age. The remnants of their civilizations are all over the place, a lot of times along the coast. It's submerged because the sea level has gone up by some 400 meters. This group has large brains. They're very distinct from Homo sapiens. Their DNA is so different that if the two species mated, their offspring would be infertile. And we know this because their DNA was just tested. They have elongated skulls, which are all over the place because they have been on Earth with us for a long time. But after the Ice Age, there weren't that many of them, so they've been hiding, and one of the places they've been hiding is the Vatican. That's why the Vatican are wearing those mitres. It turns out that that's what the high priest swore in the early beginnings of Judaism. Moses was actually Akhenaten, who was Pharaoh. They know this because the papyrus that was taken from one of the pyramids talks about this. The people who are doing archaeology in Israel know this, and the reason is not only is Homo capensis trying to keep human beings under control by divide and conquer using our monetary system, they've also been doing this with our religions. organized religions, trying to get human beings to hate people of different religions and faiths so that they will kill each other off, so that the people who are manipulating human beings could use us like cattle. That's what's been going on through our history. She goes on to describe a large-brained, blue-eyed super race, and as crazy as this sounds, she is not alone in this idea. Retired neurologist Edward Spencer made the claim that a large-brained non-human species is in control of this world. A ruling class with elongated heads has long been a fringe theory, with many pointing to ancient pharaohs of Egypt being the first. One thing is for sure, and that is elongated skulls are found all over the world, and there are many theories which attempt to explain why. Could the answer simply be because they are the skulls from this second species? This idea is something she is careful with. She does not mention it in most of her interviews, choosing instead to talk about topics like the conspiracy theories involving bankers controlling the US and dire predictions of the economic collapse of the West. During one of these interviews, Karen spoke to reporters about a scheme where $180 billion was stolen from the World Bank. When asked why this was not a bigger story, the whistleblower says that the 188 ministers of finance and the US Congress were involved in covering up the theft of $900 million of funds designated for fighting poverty in the Philippines. She says that crimes like these are part of a larger conspiracy, with the ultimate goal being the collapse of the world's financial system. When asked how such a secret is being kept, Karen said the corporate media has failed to report on these facts because the media is owned by a single conglomerate with an interest in maintaining this cover-up. She points to how back in 2012, former World Bank President Robert Zoellick worked for Mitt Romney and his presidential campaign, and that the media failed to report on this. She cryptically stated that she approached CBS to report on this international corruption, and they said that the public did not need to know. This is all part of a plan for the world, a plan which she explains with her theory of gold backwardization. It turns out that it refers to a two-step conspiracy theory, falsely charging that 1. Gold reserves no longer exist, or as in this case of the whistleblower, that the gold has been stolen by the Black Pope and hidden in the Vatican, and 2. That banks are short-selling this purportedly non-existent gold to deflate the gold market. The assumptions behind this conspiracy theory are false, of course, but it doesn't really matter. Central banks exist to manage the money supply in order to stabilize currencies and encourage steady economic growth. Conspiracy theorists and promoters of schemes involving speculation in precious metals have a different view of things though. From their point of view, those actions are intrinsically part of a plan to drive down the price of gold, since when currencies are stable, the stock market's sound, gold speculation is less attractive. This is how gold standard true believers like Hughes and other RT economic experts come to believe that normal pursuit of good economies is part of an anti-gold conspiracy. The mainstream media is completely owned and controlled by the same companies, private companies, that own the Federal Reserve. Congress people are all bribed by these corrupt forces, and the American citizens have zero confidence in their Congress. I'm not siding with Democrats or Republicans, because both of those parties have been co-opted by these terribly corrupt forces. She continues to say that these forces are using the economic systems of the world to control and manipulate populations of all countries. She fleshes out the idea by describing how taxes are collected and then funneled back to other countries and finally onto the Vatican. So what is Karen Hoods up to today? Is she still fighting to reveal the hidden species that is ruling this planet? In short, yes. Most recently, she appeared on the YouTube channel Ancient Magos Tribe to talk about Philippines gold and typhoons being used in a futile attempt to recover the World War II gold. She also spoke of the basic history which is unknown in the Philippines and to the rest of the world. This Philippines gold, or to be politically correct, Yamashita's gold, was meant for Filipinos in Ferdinand Marcos's rule, which was buried underground since World War II, will not be getting stolen again. So what about the Black Pope and the Church being in control of this planet? Writer and philosopher Avro Manhattan gives us a glimpse of the true financial worth of the Catholic Church in his book, The Vatican Billions. Avro goes on to pen, the Vatican has large investments with Rothschilds of Britain, France, and America, with the Hambros Bank, with Credit Suisse in London and Zurich. In the United States, it has large investments with Morgan Bank and Chase Manhattan Bank, and the First National Bank of New York, the Bankers Trust Company, and others. The Vatican has billions of shares in the most powerful international corporations such as Gulf Oil, Shell, General Motors, Bethlehem Steel, General Electric, International Business Machines, TWA, and more. The Catholic Church, once all her assets have been put together, is the most formidable stockbroker in the world. The Vatican, independently of each successive pope, has been increasingly orientated toward the US. The Wall Street Journal said that the Vatican's financial deals in the US alone were so big that very often it sold or brought gold in lots of millions or more dollars at one time. The Vatican's treasure of solid gold has been estimated by the United Nations World Magazine to amount to several $billion. A large bulk of this stored in gold ingots with the US Federal Reserve Bank, while banks in England and Switzerland hold the rest. So there is some truth to what Karen said. Indeed, the Vatican holds a lot of wealth and wields incredible influence over the world's financial system. The Pope, being a different species of humanoid, is a little harder to prove. Although he does wear a large hat, maybe it's to hide his elongated head. What do you think? Is there a secret power steering the world to its own agenda? Is the Vatican home to a race of large-brained super beings? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you like what I do here on the channel, hit that red button, like and share. If you'd like to support the channel, please check out the links available in the video description. You can catch the latest by searching We Are If. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.